So we're going to talk about Google My Business, and I'm going to share my screen, and here we go. Desktop 2, share. So everyone can see my screen there now. So I'm obviously here on the IT Basecamp Google My Business page and location. And as you can see from here, I've got a menu down the side here. Now, you can post sort of as often as you like, basically, on Google My Business. And these posts here, I put one in early this morning to talk about our free digital audit. And as you can see along the top, they've got a special post here now about a COVID-19 update. So Google is encouraging people to put something in about how their business is operating under COVID-19. And you can obviously then add offers, add updates, add events, and add products. So I obviously listed an offer there for a free digital audit, and I've put that through there now. So I guess, it's pretty self-explanatory when you sort of add one of these, and it is quite easy if you're used to filling in web forms to get those things up and post as regular as you can. Like, I think once a week is probably a good option. So
just jumping in there, Brad, for anyone who wasn't on the session last week, Google My Business is becoming more and more important. And the fact that you're talking about posting to Google My Business is exactly right. So I would encourage anyone to think of it as another social channel, which is where we think about posting. And from an SEO perspective, a searchability perspective, it's absolutely as important as any of your social channels and your website. So Google My Business really has become, and will become even more so, something that's critically important to any business who wants to be found online and to help ultimately generate leads and be found. So that posting once a week and so on. As I said last week, I mean, for my business, one of the businesses I have, which is holiday rentals, I've now put a weekly reminder in my calendar, and every week, as a minimum, I will make a post to Google My Business when I do the same for social channels, when I do the same for the blog on the website. Google My Business is now, very much a weekly calendar entry, and I've carved time out of my schedule to do it, and I would only encourage anyone else to do the same. It doesn't take long, but it's really important.
Yeah, so I guess, like, if you look down the front page here, there's many things to click on, and if I sort of scroll down, one of the ones I did want to talk about is get more reviews. Now, believe it or not, once you get your location validated, Google provide a short link which you can use to actually get to your page and to get to your reviews. So if you click on the share review form, you can actually obviously send this link to any of your social media channels or share via email. So getting this link and putting it in the bottom of your signature is a way for you to boost your reviews and get people sort of putting reviews on Google. And it's really important to sort of get as many as these as you can, especially for places like accommodation and food, and even us as a business. I mean, we've only got a few, but we're offering that out to customers now and clients to leave us a review. Now, they say that an average of about between 4.3 and 4.5 is the best place to be. So having perfect 5 stars every time sort of gets seen as a bit fake. So the thing there is don't be scared if you get a 1-star review or a 3-star review or a 4-star review. The importance is there where you do get marked down is that you get in and actually reply to it. So just to show you how easy this is, if I've clicked on it down there, but you can actually type it in once you actually get your Google My Business page. If I come in here, whoops, I've clicked on a link under there and go g.page/itbasecamp/reviews. Watch what happens here. Well, review. Okay. Let's try that there. It's not with an S. All right, it takes it to my page and obviously pops up the review so that I can actually write a review. Now, I'm not going to write a review about myself, but if I cancel that, you'll see that it's brought up Google Maps with that short link and puts the pin on the map where we are. And down the left-hand side here, you can obviously see all the information. So that is our short link. I can put that anywhere. I can put g.page/review, g.page/IT Basecamp. And it's always going to take to our page. If you pre-pin review on the end, all right, it takes you to the reviews. So that's a very sort of powerful link to put into your signatures or to share, on their website or anything like that, so that people can actually leave reviews.
Absolutely, Brad. If you went to CMIS, for example, there's an example where I've got it on the website. If you want to show that, another way I use it, for example, is I have a little script. I use Google Notes, so I've got it saved in there, but it doesn't matter how you save it. But I've got a little script that says, thanks for staying with us. We'd really appreciate your feedback. If when you have time, see there, please leave a review. So yeah, boom, it's on the website, easy. So, but that means a lot of people operate on mobile these days, and depending on the business you've got, I tend to communicate with guests in this case via mobile, whether it's SMSs or whatever it is. But like even this morning, I had a guest check out, and I was able to send a personal message, hi Jacob, and then cut and paste. So it's taken me probably 5 seconds, but it feels personal, and I guarantee Jacob will leave a review today. And of course, I happen to know he's a happy customer, so that helps as well. But nonetheless, just being in the habit of really searching out those reviews and asking for them, because you'll probably get a hit rate of, let's say, 1 in 5. So you've got to be asking for more than you know you're going to get. But it does take work. But if I search for accommodation in Jervis Bay, I'll pop up. And if I pop up, we don't need to do that because it'll come up with booking.com and so on. But if you've got, let's say, 3 accommodation providers and one's got, let's say, 30, 40, 50 reviews that are, let's say, 4.8 star versus one that's got 3 reviews, immediately psychologically we're going to go to the one that's got more reviews, and by default we see it's got a high star rating. So it really doesn't, it's just about forming the habit of asking for the review. So yes, your email signatures, yes, on your website, but if you interact with customers directly, particularly on your phone, then it's great. You can SMS it, WhatsApp, Messenger, it doesn't matter, cut and paste, little script, and I've had really good success that way with getting reviews.
Yeah, and you sort of hinted on the app there, Matt. Once you've obviously got your Google My Business page, there is an app to actually manage that page directly from your Android or your Apple phone. And the one thing that does allow you to do is to chat directly from your phone to your customers via your Google My Business page. And I think that's a really powerful thing for a lot of people, because if they land up on your site and want to ask a quick question, which a lot of people do, then they can do that. And if you're near your mobile, you can answer and be really efficiently replying quite quickly. Yeah.
I don't know how visible that is on this camera, but I'm using the app, so that's CMIST again. Obviously, you can't read the detail, but it makes it really easy. I can see all my customer reviews. When I get a review, it pops up. I can reply there and then in the app, and I can post from the app. So I've got to be honest, I hardly ever use the interface on the desktop. It's a bit like using a social media page. It's so easy. The app's excellent, and you can have multiple businesses in the one app. You can switch between it like you can in, let's say, for example, Instagram. So the app, I think, is definitely the way to go. It's so convenient.
One interesting note I'll see if you look at my screen is map views. Performance in the past 28 days is minus 58%. Probably a sign of the times that people aren't using maps to actually find things because they're not traveling as much. So it's really interesting that. So I guess, if you haven't created your page yet, or you have one and you want to look to improve it, I think putting aside time each week to get in and make some changes in there is really important. Adding photos. You can actually come into products and add products. So we've actually put one in here for a workstation cybersecurity bundle that we offer. And then services as well. Now, the one thing that will happen with different services and things that you offer into the Google My Business is they will go in for review, and Google may review them and may reject them if they feel it's not appropriate for the type of businesses that you're offering. So that's just something to be aware of. When you actually are posting the services on there, keep them relevant to what you do, and they'll get approved. So look, there's obviously so many features to Google My Business, and we've just given you a whole bunch of different things there. That's the other thing that happens here as well, as I probably should mention. You just saw this thing slide out here with your plan. So if Google's got things that it feels you should be doing to your Google My Business page, it will suggest them. And for us, had the COVID-19 sort of response there and wanted us to put a post about COVID-19 in there to how our business is operating. So I did put a post in there and said we're all working remotely and shipping's a bit slow, but there are all sorts of things that can help when people are looking at your page. Not sure that's we've sort of covered off on that side of things, Matt. If you've sort of got anything to add there.
No, I just encourage you, if you haven't already set one up, then we've got a whole bunch of helpful links for how to do that. And if you have set it up but are not really active with it, then I'd encourage you to force yourself to create a new habit and put it in your calendar each week. And if you haven't downloaded the app, it's the best thing in the world, really. It makes it super easy, so I would encourage you to do so.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
When you get a bad review, I always look at, do you respond to them? Because I always look at bad reviews to see how the owner has responded. I actually take that more into account than what the response is. Because if you've got, let's say, 50 great reviews and then 3 bad reviews, I don't care, because you can't please everybody in the world. So, you're going to get the odd bad review. But I always look at how the person responds, because if they become argumentative or if they say you're an a-hole, bugger off, I'm instantly put off.
Absolutely. And certainly any of the booking channels I've spoken to, I used to be, some of them were quite unfair. Like in the early days, 1 or 2 were just miserable and unfair. And the advice from the channels was as well, don't worry about it, because you've got 150 5-star reviews. If you get one that's at 1 star, common sense suggests to anyone that, all right, there's a backstory, and it's exactly right. It's how you respond. So my advice would always be, yes, always respond. But of course, you've got to do it in the most professional way possible, showing that you're reasonable. And the advice from the booking channels, actually from an accommodation perspective, is always, it's one of those, thank you for your feedback, and address it that way. And we always appreciate the opportunity to learn and to be better. But then you can address, if they've just been unreasonable or whatever it is, you can address that nicely, but you start with that approach of, we appreciate feedback, and so on. But I always reply.
You can see we've got a 1-star review there. We don't even know who Tim C is.
That's my pseudonym.
Is it? But again, the one thing you can do with these, and which I will mention, is if someone's being unreasonable, we've actually filed to have this one removed because we just don't know who it is. But it does bring our rating down a little bit and make us look like we're not perfect, because we've obviously got a lot of 5-star reviews there from different customers where we've asked them to do things. So that's it's really important that you sort of get on and do respond to the bad ones. You can reply to the good ones as well and say thank you very much and really appreciate your review. We must get on and do that ourselves. A bit of housekeeping there, and like the mechanic's car, as they say.
It's actually important. You reply to every single one. That's one of the reasons I like the app. As soon as I get a review, I jump in and I reply, even if it's to say thanks very much, see you next time, glad you had a great had it. And actually, a little bit of a tip that I was taught, which is handy for any business really, when you're replying to reviews. the tip I was given was, rather than starting with the thanks for your review, glad you had a good time, if they'd said, I don't know, clean, really clean, spacious, awesome service, and so on, you repeat what they say. You go, oh, yeah, super clean, really spacious, great service, glad you enjoyed your stay, that's amazing. Because psychologically, we tend to just focus on the first part of whatever we're reading, and therefore you're simply reinforcing the highlights of that review. And if you've got a review that has a mixture of both, it was awesome, it was this, it was that, but there's something, then again, by simply focusing on the good parts and thanking them for their feedback up front, psychologically that's quite important because of the way the human brain works. So that's a handy hint. And that's a guy who offers advice to Airbnb operators for a living, and he's proven time and time again how that approach for responding to reviews, good and bad, is quite powerful.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you for that. One last thing I was actually going to quickly talk about too is the ability for you to allow a customer to book an appointment with you. So one of the things I've set up on here is an appointment link down the bottom here. Because we're in a consulting business, I'd like for people to be able to get in touch with us and book an appointment. So I guess if you haven't heard of Calendly, it's a great product. I'll take it here and obviously copy it because here it's allowing me to edit it. And I'll open a new tab here. And this is my Calendly page. And in here, people can actually select a date and select an appointment. I've put just a couple of days so that I don't get sort of overwhelmed. And from here, they can confirm. Quick sort of few details there, name, email, phone number, and how can we help? And that sends me a calendar invite for that person then to book an appointment with me, and I'll make sure that I attend that because it's in my calendar and I've got their contact details. So these are all things that from your Google My Business page, you can actually set up. So if I do a new incognito window here and just type, actually I've got to do it in Firefox because I use another, if I just type IT Basecamp here, you can see there that it's got all of our sort of stuff there, write a review, add a photo. Because I've probably just added that, it won't probably let me book an appointment by the look of it. No, it hasn't got it yet. Directions, website, save. So I guess I've only just added that recently, but I'm hoping that link will come up for people to book an appointment straight from our Google My Business page. So that should be there. All right, we're up to our 20 minutes. Is there any questions before we sort of get off the call?
Only one comment I'd like to make, actually, one final thing, if I may. In regard to negative reviews, the more reviews you have, if you get the odd negative one, the less impact it has on the overall ranking.
Yeah, sure.
Common sense. So again, another motivation to really drive at getting more and more reviews.
Okay. Well, thanks everybody for joining in. We've got our 20 minutes. We'll try to keep them short. And next week, we'll probably move on to a competitor product, which is Apple Maps Connect, and talk about how you can get yourself into Apple. So 50% of devices, I believe, are Apple these days, and people use the features in there. And Safari on Apple is obviously by far one of the most popular browsers because of the fact that it's the native browser in Apple. So we'll be talking about this side of digital matters with Apple products. So good to see you all, and thank you for joining. And we'll catch up with you next week.
Absolutely. Thanks, Brad. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.